Hey guys, you ask me all the time how I create different designs, and pretty much everything I do is in Canva, which is this website right here, and it's free. I absolutely love it. You can see all the different options for places that you can design things. So I just thought it'd be fun since I have a book release coming up and I'm doing a ton of different graphic design stuff to show you some of the things that I've done. So my main reason that I use Canva is when I make YouTube thumbnails. Like these, and you probably recognize these because I have made them recently. And so you'll notice that YouTube has a lot of cool templates on the side here for everything that you can do. So for example, I could pop in anything here and I could start. I love that they actually implemented my notes already for me. Now obviously that's not a really good fit, but you get the idea. So that's my YouTube thumbnails. If you ever don't like anything, you just undo. And if you want to, you can click this little button to duplicate and you can create a slightly different version. Like for example, maybe I think that this isn't very readable, so I can create something super similar, but I could just change the color and try, using a white background instead. And I could look at that and think, all right, which one is better? Which one pops more? Which is another feature I really love to compare. There's even this option down here. You can change the size, so I could zoom out and get a better picture of the two of them here, or I can do, this option. And by the way, I have a lot of thumbnails in this particular folder, so it's going to take forever to load, but you get the idea. Another thing I love using it for is for Instagram, and so I'll use it for things like photo challenges because you can put a lot of text in there, and I also use it for things like giveaways. So again, I love the feature where you can play around with different sizes and colors and just where you place things. I think somewhere in here I place things on the side instead, like this, and it just gives me a sense of, which one do I like better? And you can look at them side by side and get a good feel for like which one stands out to you. And we'll talk more about the specific marketing things you can do in a second, but I also love to use it for stories. So for example, this is a story highlight that I created, and I just made a bunch of highlights that looked the same, and I used the little circle so that it could fit into the circle on Instagram, but you can do however you want. There's so many ideas for how you can make story highlights. You can make them super simple, or you could add writing to them. It really doesn't matter. And I've also used them to do little teasers like this, like a story snippet. This is an old one. I've actually rewritten that, but we'll move on. I've even used them in the past for creating games like this, which I did for my release of the Corgi book way back when. And you can create fun things that people can interact with and reshare on their stories. So I kind of want to do something like that for the Stolen Kingdom. But another thing I use it for is banners. So not just the YouTube banner, although that's what this is, and this is very out of date. I need to update this. But I also will do like a Twitter banner, a Facebook banner. Even for my personal page, I have a banner, and that can be really fun to play around with. Another thing that I use Canva for is aesthetics. I cannot say that word for anything, but I love aesthetics. This is an older one. I think I have the color version as my screensaver, and then this is a newer version in a different size, and you can see how I just played around with it. Now, in this particular case, I think I just resized the photos myself like this, but there's also options in the templates where you can get different grids. Like for example, if I wanted to do 4 photos like this, and then you can fit your pictures in. So in a second, I will do a little tutorial on how to use all the elements on the side and all this fun stuff. But I'm just going to show you a couple more things that I've done because now it gets kind of crazy. I used Canva for chapter headers for the Stolen Kingdom. This was a lot of fun to do. I really liked the swirlies and how that matched the front cover of the book, and a lot of people voted for this one when I did a little Instagram poll. So all I had to do was make all the chapter headers and download them. And so some things you will have to pay for in Canva, and this particular photo did charge me, I think it was $1 for all 50 that I created 52 chapters. One other really unique way that I use Canva before we go into more of the marketing side of it is that I love to use it to make my maps for my books. And so this is definitely something unique. I haven't seen anybody else do this, but I have a whole tutorial on how I do my maps for my books. So if you're interested in that, definitely check it out. I'll leave a link in the description box below for the map that I did for Pearl's number. And then if you want to see a very brief example of how I made this map, I actually have a tutorial over on Instagram and IGTV as well. The map has a lot going on, so if I go and play around and show you how to make it, it's going to take forever. So I'm actually going to switch to my last example here of some things that I've already made, some giveaways that I started playing with. I actually originally had graphics for Pearl's number and some giveaways that I did in the past. So I have just duplicated them, which is this little guy right here. And then I started playing with them. So if I duplicate this and I want to use this as a story, or maybe this first one as an Instagram story, and then I can make some fun graphics here where I start writing review by so-and-so, and then name here, and I can just resize it to fit, and I can follow up this story, what readers are saying, with an actual review by a reader or 2 or 3, and so on. And when I get over on Instagram, I could actually go and tag them with their handle so that it's actually using the Instagram, design features versus the Canva features. But I just really like the ability to use Canva to write everything out because I can do my own specific branding and I can use my own artwork a lot more easily. I can add backgrounds that would take a lot more effort to add in Instagram. So for example, if I want to add a background, once you make it fit, usually it will become a background, but sometimes you might want to resize a picture. For example, this one is not a PNG. I need to make a PNG of it. So if I wanted to make it fit better, I can just do a little bit of resizing. That's this crop option here. And then you could also copy it. You could have multiple. I could have cell phones for days if I wanted to. If you want to change your font, you can go here to do that. Oswald is one of my favorites. I also really love playlist script. If you don't want it to be all caps because playlist script looks a little funny, you can use this to change it. So I like to have just kind of an opposite. So I like my Oswald to be all caps and the playlist script to be all lowercase, but you can find your favorite fonts and you can create a brand for yourself out of all these really cool fonts like this. And you can make something that's very unique to you. So I'm just going to click undo because that's not really my brand. You can resize the font here, so if you wanted it to be huge, you can do that. If you wanted it to be really tiny because you have a lot that you need to fit in, that's awesome too. You can change the color. You can create your own specific color. Again, if you want to have branding, and you can even take that color code and remember it and make all of your fonts that exact color. You can also bold everything or put italics on it depending on the font. I think that this particular font only lets you do bold. You can make it go all on the left or all on the right. You can even add bullet points occasionally, and you can change the spacing, which is something I did in my maps, which I will show you really quick here. Let's make this a little bigger so you can see. Let's pretend that I wanted the spacing to be just a little bit closer together here in the lines. You can actually squish them together or space them out depending on whatever you want. And I also really love this feature if I wanted to spread it out a little bit more. If ever your words just aren't fitting quite right, you can also just change the shape of the box, which is fabulous. And so you just have so much wiggle room to just make it look pretty and centered and all that. And guys, that's just what you can do with just the font alone and the backgrounds and adding images. And you'll see that I have a bunch of images on the side, but you can also go into Canva and they have free photos. So these are ones that are like stock photos that are allowed to be used. So you can see all the cute images. And then sometimes they have photos that will cost a little bit of money. And so there's the pro option. If you were to sign up and get like a package with Canva, I believe you would have access to anything with this little crown, this pro option. And then there are some that are just like $1 to use for 24 hours. So like you saw earlier when I had the chapter headers, I just paid $1. and I got all 52 plus chapter headers for $1. You can use things like this, and you can create really cool designs and backgrounds for yourself. Like, for example, there's a new background, and I can make it really cute like that. Now, say, for example, I didn't have my book, or I wanted to add a book specifically. You can go in and you can find, there are the pro versions and then there are the free versions. So, this is like a really horrible example, but maybe you want your story to be a bunch of books, and maybe you want to keep it really simple without a background. So we'll trash the background, and this is just a story highlight. Done deal. You could say what the story is highlighting, like you could say it's my books. And there you go. The sky is really the limit with Canva. They have layouts for you, so if you're not comfortable, making up something that's totally, brand new in your own, you could go, I'm just going to go and make one right here. Let's see. And then you could go in and make this your own. You could take these photos, for example, and upload your own photos. I'm going to choose really random pictures here. Awkward selfies. There you go. Let's not look at that one. Let's look at more the typical stuff that you would want to do for release. I just wanted to show you a couple examples. So I want to start from scratch. We're going to go to creating a design, and you'll see that there's a billion different things. So you can scroll through and see the different sizes that they give you for social media, for documents, for personal fun things like invitations and calendars and planners, education. Here's your marketing section, which is so much fun. Events, even ads, like if you wanted to run a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad and you wanted to actually create something specific. You can even do custom dimensions and create, the exact size that you need, and you can play with this. So I have no idea what this is going to be. Let's find out what size that is. Okay, I think this is actually my Pinterest graphic size, if you're curious. I don't remember if this fits perfectly, but let's pretend that we're making a Pinterest graphic, and let's just say that I want to make a countdown. So I definitely know the first thing that I would want to do is include my book. So I have created a couple PNGs. Let's use a Kindle, and let's say 5 days or something would be a good place to start. So I'm going to go to my text. You can click add any of these, and then you can kind of make it your own. So if I say 5 days to release, I'm going to highlight all of that and go find Oswald, because that's my branding. And then I'm going to make it all caps. I might bold it, and then I'd really want it to be huge. So let's go with really huge. And the cool thing is that it will let you resize. So let's say 5 days to release, and obviously that's looking weird over the photo, and I kind of want to use all my space to my advantage, so I'm going to squish the lines together a little bit. What else would go in a countdown? You guys help me out. So one of my favorite things to do, and I already mentioned this, is I like to copy. I like to start with a basic and make a copy and then see and kind of compare the two. So you'll notice that I've been using this a lot as a background image. Again, it's really nice for branding just to use something. Oops. If you double click, you can actually move around your background, by the way. So I'm going to bring the moon into it. So now that's not very readable. So maybe I'm going to put it at the bottom. This changes everything. And then sometimes the cool thing is you can leave room for the cool Instagram features. So for example, I know that Instagram has the fantastic hashtag. So I might actually want to leave room here at the bottom to do that fun hashtag, the Stolen Kingdom, where it actually will link the Stolen Kingdom. Keep in mind that Instagram will let you do things like add GIFs or GIFs, however you want to say it, like sparkles and all that fun stuff. So that's how I might make a countdown. And if you're going to do something that is like a countdown, for example, that's very cohesive, you might want to keep it very similar. So once you get a style you like, you start duplicating it and you do, 3 days to release and so on. That gives it a very branded look, and it's always nice to do that. So release day, and then you could, make it bigger if you want to. I'm going to show you making a couple other things. Let's say that we want to make an Instagram post. I'm going to show you an aesthetic really quick, and then I'm going to show you how to do maybe a snippet, which can kind of go with the aesthetic, and just a couple different ways to do it. So I'm going to get rid of this text because that's distracting to me. And personally, I think it's really fun to use the grids. So if you go into the grids, there's also fun things like frames. You can add shapes. I definitely encourage you to play with all the fun stuff in here. But let's use a grid, and I will show you how to make a simple aesthetic. I think it's usually better if you have squares than these long ones for aesthetics. You can just fit a lot more into them. So let's say we want to do 3 photos. So I'm going to go into my photos, although you could, again, go into elements or photos and you could search and just find something directly in Canva, for example, like let's say castle, because I have princesses and castles in my story. Holy crap, I love that. So if you move that into a box, you've got a castle. And let's put a princess in the story. This is not really fitting my book, but it's going to give you guys the idea. Oh my gosh, I love this dress. So we're just going to go with it. This is a pretend book that I am making up. So this actually kind of goes together already. It's got a very beautiful aesthetic going on with the greens and the like pearly and the white colors. But if you wanted to, you can add filters to your photo and make everything black and white, for example, so then it definitely matches. Or you could add, let's try this filter. That definitely gives it a strong sense that they belong together, which when it comes to Instagram, that's kind of what you want, is you want to make everything that you're posting look like it belongs together. That's the idea of a brand. If you guys want me to go more into author branding and that kind of fun stuff, definitely let me know. But that's how you would make an aesthetic. And then let's do one more where I show you guys how to make a snippet. So here is the aesthetic I have for my computer background, the color version, but I'm gonna use this one. This is one of my favorite photos that makes me think of the first chapter in my book because of this dress. And so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then we're going to put text over it because we're sharing a snippet. So I'm just going to copy and paste in the text from my story. Okay, so that's not very readable, obviously. So then one of the things that you can do, you could add a more simple background. For example, I'll just copy this, get rid of that background and add something like a free background like this, or like the waves, something that would fit your story. So you don't even have to go with anything super crazy. You could just pick something that fits your story to share that. But I really like using, this one right here. I just really like that it includes the image in the story. So what I will do is I'll go into elements. We're going to close out of grids and everything here. And we're going to actually use a shape. So I use this shape all the time. And I'm going to show you guys a really simple way to just add a little bit of background. So the cool thing about Canva is everything's layered. So right now this is at the front, but I can put it backward, and now the words are at the front. Another cool thing you can do is change the transparency, which is what we're going to do today. So I'm going to do something like this where you can still see the photo behind it. And then I also think let's change the color to match our photo beneath it a little better. So I'm going to look for something that makes me think gold. Like that's kind of gold right here. So let's go with that. I'm really sad that it's still kind of covering up the cool dress, which is really what I wanted in the first place. So I'm going to actually resize my square and make it more of a side thing like this. And then I'll just resize my words until they fit into the picture the way that I want them to, which in this case might mean finding the perfect size font like this. There you go. That's how I've created a little story snippet, and I just think that looks beautiful. But a really smart thing to do is make sure that whatever you share is going to be readable. So one way that I'll do that is by zooming out again, and you can see the things that we've just created today. This looks horrible. We're going to trash that. And so that looks fairly readable from here, but if I wanted to, I could duplicate it. And again, this is one of my favorite things to do. It's just a habit that I have now. I don't even think about it. And I could see what it looks like if I make it less transparent like that. So I've shown you guys how to make countdowns, how to make review graphics for your story, graphics like this snippet for Instagram or a photo challenge or giveaways. There's so many different things that you could do in Canva. You can even create a book cover, and I think that probably a lot of you have seen this cover before, but you could go in and create something that's unique to your story. You could, this is just a book size, so if I wanted to use that same photo that I just showed you guys. And this is another one of my absolute favorites for my story. This is the one that actually first inspired the Stolen Kingdom. It just really made me think of the character, Ari. And the one thing you're going to want to take into consideration is where are you posting this? Because if you're just doing like an Instagram post where you're sharing, you know, this fun story snippet, then it's not a big deal if you're pulling a picture from Pinterest like this. But if it's something where you would actually sell it, you need to make sure you have the rights to it. So you would want to use probably more of a stock photo from here that's free versus something that you take off the internet. Actually, I really loved that photo. So don't mind me. I'm just going to make another one here. Holy crap. That looks like the coolest book ever. So that's what we'll call it. The coolest princess story ever. And I know you want to read this. National bestseller, that's pretty epic. And Can She Ride the Strong Ways of Life? They've already got everything you need here. So you can just, you know, novel by Bethany. There you go. There's my new book. That's actually really epic, you guys. I actually love that. Just make sure if you do something like this, it's like a really cool book cover, or like the map that I use, that you are checking that you have the rights to use that for your particular project. There's probably a lot more that I could say, so if you guys want more Canva tutorials in the future, let me know. If you have specific questions that I forgot to answer, because seriously, there's so much that I could say, pop your questions in the description box below, and I will definitely take a look at that and either help you in the moment or do another video. Alright guys, so I am coming back to you after creating a bunch of different countdowns, teasers, snippets, release day graphics, etc. for the Stolen Kingdom, because it's now release week, and I'm very excited to show you just a very quick sneak peek at what I have. And then if you want to see more, you definitely should go follow me on Instagram. My handle there is at author Bethany Atazadeh. And just really quick, I do want to point out that we are in the middle of a giveaway. So in the 5 days leading up to release, we have a massive grand prize giveaway going on with a bunch of different prizes actually for US and international. Go check out my Instagram to find out more details about that. And then here on YouTube on release day, we're going to have a live stream and I will be giving away a bunch of cool prizes. So again, go check that out. But this is my countdown for Instagram, and these are things that I will actually just push to Facebook and Twitter as well, and potentially here on YouTube. If you guys enjoy that kind of stuff, I might test it out. I don't know if you would enjoy that here on YouTube or not. That's something I've never done before, but it could be fun to try. And then I want to show you one other page. You guys saw the what readers are saying in the review type graphics, so I won't show you all that, but I did make some specific teasers and snippets, and as you can see, I'm still playing with them for where things are placed, like fun lines, and how far up, or if it's filling the screen and all that kind of stuff. It's not fully loading yet, so you can't see the other pictures that are there, so I guess you're going to want to go follow me on Instagram to actually see the pictures, because for whatever reason, not everything here is loading. Canva's not my friend today. The more that you have in a folder, the longer it's going to take to load, and the slower it's going to move around. So sometimes it's better not to put this much in a folder, but in this case I just wanted to be able to see it all next to each other so that after I play around with it, I can make all of it more similar and all continuous. So what I have is kind of an introductory snippet that I'll put for the stories, and I want to create like a brand new story for the Stolen Kingdom. So I'll put meet the characters in the world, and then as the days goes on, I've been moving these out of order, so it says day 4, but I'm going to make a day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and maybe a few more where I have snippets that just do a little teaser at what the book is about. Outside of that, I also want to be sharing quotes and different teasers from people who are reading the ARC right now. So I've created some placeholders. I wish they would show up for you. I guess you're just going to have to follow me on Instagram because nothing is showing up right now. I've tried a couple times, but I will save this story in my highlights afterwards. All the different things that people say, so you can go and click the Stolen Kingdom series highlight to go and find out more of what people are saying and how I organize the photos. Let me try exiting. Okay, there we go. Some of them are working now. So this is a close-up of quotes that I've done, different styles, and I actually just took a bunch of templates from the side and I just tested them. So I took ones like this and I just tried playing with it to see how I could make it work. So I will leave you with this. Go check out my Instagram. Make sure you go and join the giveaway if you're interested in winning some awesome prizes. And then make sure to come back here on release day, which is August 20th, where we are going to be celebrating the release of The Stolen Kingdom. So I hope to see you then, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye!